Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to speak a little bit about different targets that you need across your entire funnel. One of the largest mistakes that I see with the brands that I work with now, caveat, most of the brands I work with now are very highly sophisticated. You know, they're already above 5 or 10 million a year on Meta, and they want to come to me to get them to 7 to 8 figures a year on Google independently from Meta, right? So they don't have a dropshipper mentality, and usually I'm working with pretty big teams. So I don't need to explain this often to them, but it's still something I see quite a bit on the Twitter timeline or talking to other freelancers who have this issue. And that's trying to work with a one-size-fits-all CAC or ROAS target without really thinking where you're targeting and where you're spending your money in the funnel process, right? And that's really the biggest mistake that I see happening a lot, and it really holds you back from scaling because you expect your top of funnel spend to have the same effect in terms of a CAC or ROAS target compared to your middle of funnel retargeting or bottom of funnel branded search queries or branded shopping, right? And that's not reality. You have different buying behavior based on their awareness, as well as just different costs associated to that, right? Your cold search or cold video could be a lot less expensive or more expensive depending on your competitiveness of your brand, and a lower conversion is going to equal a higher CAC, right? So just a quick video today in this kind of series, and my entire goal with this channel now is really focusing on showing you what I'm doing across my clients, and not being so theory-based like I used to be in this channel, but more so what I'm actually seeing, what I'm actually doing. My goal is to basically become the best e-commerce Google Ads advertiser in the world, and a long way to go, but I just trying to do this every day. And the main thing I'm seeing here is this is an account that I took over on the 19th of March, so about 45 days ago now, 50 days. And we're just really testing, how can we flip from a very middle of the funnel and bottom of the funnel warm traffic account that is purely basically remarketing off their Meta traffic, since they're spending about 300K a month on Meta, and about, I think about 50-ish, well, it's just about 30 to 35K a month on Google at the time. So about a 10% to their Meta spend. And it was just basically all PMAX and some brand search and brand shopping. So, very warm. Of course, PMAX does have some top of funnel prospecting in there, but not nearly what it would be if there was no Meta involved, right? With that such a big force of Meta spend on this account, it was basically all retargeting. Waiting to get some channel overlapping data from Triple Whale, since this client uses Triple Whale, and they're going to see that for us, kind of make sure we are going the right way. But I just want to show you, how we really think through this, and how, I don't expect video campaigns on YouTube to have the same return as a branded search campaign, right? And once you really just think about it for more than 5 seconds and understand the state of awareness and the costs associated with each, phase of the funnel, then it's very natural and it makes complete sense, right? And I have nothing really to say back to that. But in this instance, right, looking at our groupings, and I highly recommend you do this. It's called campaign groups. It's on the left-hand side under campaigns in the Google Ads view. Create groups based on either testing, scaling, or funnel location. I love funnel location just because this gives us a very easy overview on how we're using our spend and what we're actually getting back with this. And this is also a very easy kind of to view waterfall structure of, hey, we're putting most of our spend on the very top of the funnel, which you should be if you were trying to scale independent of Meta, and trying to see how this actually flows down throughout it. Now, of course, this is in-app metrics. This is going to be biased towards Google, and just like Facebook's biased, but I'm just trying to show you this for the sake of the illustration. I'm not trying to say this is actually what's happening, but this is where we're using in-app metrics. So before we got into this account, it was literally 2 PMAXs and I believe a brand search and brand shopping campaign. And again, I classify PMAX in the situation as middle of funnel more than top of funnel. You can argue with me in the comments if you want, but that's usually when you're only spending 10% on Google compared to 300K versus 30K on Meta. Google's gonna be very retargeting focused, and we saw that with the search insights as well as just the warm traffic conversion rates as well. So overall, what we do was a complete 180. They had no pure top of funnel outside of some PMAX, of course, will be prospecting, but what we did in the first 30 days was just launch cold shopping campaigns. This is a skincare product, and it's actually performing quite well on shopping for being skincare. We are going to be testing some different landers very soon for that. But and then in the last 20 days, we've launched some YouTube tests and some geo-targeting there, just to see how the Facebook creatives work. They're not performing as well as I'd like, so we are going to be pushing these, pushing them to get actually YouTube specific creatives done, and we'll be handling that. just because, some clients, Facebook works very well, and I'd highly recommend you start on YouTube with your Facebook creatives, your best performers. But other times, as you see here, like just the front-end engagement metrics like click-through rate and view rate are not where we need to be to scale YouTube long-term and actually create a good top-of-funnel channel. So that's for another day, and I'll talk about that in another video. But as you can see here, how does each part of the funnel react to another? So for example, we have 3 video campaigns right now. They're demand gen, they're all going in-stream traffic, and our ROAS in-app is a 0.5% basically. So, according to House, the leading D2C incrementality study, on average across 74, 7, 8, and 9-figure D2C brands, 190 incrementality tests. This is on average another 3.4x ROAS off platform. That's the average. It was always at least above 100%. So no matter what, this is above a 1 off in terms of organic, direct, email, stuff like that. However, just something to think about. But again, just showing you the kind of the parts of the funnel. So a 0.5 return on pure top of funnel video. And we do have measures in here to try to keep this as cold as possible and not retarget as a whole. Top of funnel demand capture, aka shopping campaigns, and we do have one search team, but mainly shopping. And you can see here, okay, a 1.3, so more than double what we're getting on video because they have actually intent, right? You can see that conversion right here, 4.5% compared to 0.02%, right? Now this is a long-term play that will feed into this. And then middle funnel right here, we have basically a 4.8x return, which is quite different than this, right? And then bottom funnel brand, we have at a 6, right? And that was at a 3 before. So just getting this more efficient, dropping our CPCs and controlling our queries. So overall, I just want to show you this and kind of illustrate long term, you should be trying to find your benchmarks. And ideally, what you need to do is if you are the client and you're the CMO or you have your own clients, operate either off a total media mix return where, hey, Meta and Google need to equate to a 1.5 or a 3, right? Whatever it is, and then know, okay, Meta can be at a 1, Google needs to be at a 2, right? And it'll come through that way. Or you need to operate on a Google blended view and say, okay, Google needs to be at a 2 every month. Well, how can we get to a 2? And then map it out here with your stages. You don't have to do different creation or capture. I just did this to really illustrate for myself and my team, seeing the pure demand creation side versus demand capture side on top of funnel. So you don't need to be as segmented as this. However, it does show you difference in just overall state of awareness and buying intent. So use campaign groups, and then your homework today, go figure out what's your actual benchmark, and then see, okay, well, if I'm at a 1 on top of funnel, I can actually scale triple in the next 90 days because I don't have to try to get it to 3, right? And just opens you up for scaling. So if you have any questions on benchmarks, just let me know, and have a great day.